We'll call to order tonight's Committee of the Whole for the Auburn City Council meeting for October the 19th, 2021. The City Council should have the minutes from the Committee of the Whole from the October 5th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, is there a move to approve?
So moved.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the minutes carry forth. Educational Building Authority, Mayor Pro Tem Witten.
Yes, sir. We have one term that begins November the 10th, 2021, and ends November the 9th, 2027. We had one incumbent, Robert Smith, who served 2 full terms. He is the only applicant that we have. I would like to move that we accept his application and nominate Robert Smith for a 3rd term.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second for Robert Smith. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll confirm that later on in the agenda. Tree Commission.
Yes, sir. We have 3 vacancies. Terms begin November the 8th, 2021, and end November 7th, 2024. We have incumbents John Cush, who served 2 full terms. For that position, I would like to nominate Shelley Astrup.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second for Shelley Astrup. Is there any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. We'll confirm that later on in the agenda.
For the position that Jane Debs had, or Debbie's, she did not apply for a 2nd term, so I'd like to nominate Michelle Bethune.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second for Michelle Bethune. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
And for the 3rd vacancy, Nancy Golson has served 1 full term. She did reapply. I'd like to renominate Nancy Golson for a 2nd term.
Second.
Have a motion and a second for Nancy Golson. Any questions or comments? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that motion carries. Thank you for that work, Ms. Whitten. We appreciate everybody that applied for the Tree Commission. Thank you for sending your applications in and your desire to serve our community. And those of you whose names were not called tonight, I hope you'll continue to look for opportunities to serve your city. And we appreciate the service of all the members of our Tree Commission and look forward to working with Ms. Astrup, Ms. Bethune, and Ms. Golson here in the future. Questions on the agenda for the city manager? Okay. Hearing none. City manager, anything for us?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Do I have a move to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. We'll adjourn the Committee of the Whole and we'll start our regular meeting at 7 o'clock. We'll call to order tonight's Auburn City Council meeting for October the 19th, 2021. With the roll call, Lindsay.
Dawson.
Here.
Dixon.
Here.
Griswold.
Here.
Hovey. Parsons.
Here.
Smith.
Present.
Taylor. Witten.
Here.
Here. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, and then please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Under Mayor's announcements tonight, I want to say thank you to the staff at the Auburn Housing Authority and our public safety staff for conducting night out last night over the Ridgecrest Apartments. What a beautiful evening, what beautiful weather. We had a number of vendors there. It was a very positive event, and I'm just grateful for everybody's effort and time to make that happen. The children were having a great time. I know there were some bicycles that were given away and a lot of fun had, so thank you to everybody that made that happen. Reminding everyone that Trick or Treat is on Sunday the 31st this year, and that's certainly a little bit different situation for us to have Trick or Treat on a Sunday night. Just remind our community to please be mindful that children and families will be out walking around, and please be careful as you go about your business on Sunday evening. We also look forward to having the downtown Trick or Treat event, as we always do. Auburn High School's got a big game this Friday night with Enterprise. It's homecoming. It's a big game for their region and for their playoff hopes. And I know there's a parade here this week as well. And just encourage people, if you don't have anything to do this weekend, go watch the Auburn High Tigers on Friday night participate against the Enterprise Wildcats. Reminding our community that a week from last night, this coming Monday night, is the State of the City at the Googe Performing Arts Center. It's a free event open to anyone in our community for you to come and learn everything that's been going on in your city over the past year. And we'll also recognize with the Mayor's Lamplight Award 6 individuals in our community who are doing outstanding things to support Auburn during this time. We announced today, and you might have seen a press release about our toy drive that this is conducted through our public safety. I just thank them again for doing this each and every year. You have an opportunity, if you'd like to sign your children up, to register your child to receive a toy. I believe it's for ages 2 through 8. And if you have a toy that you'd like to drop off at either the police department or the Auburn Fire Station, please do that so we can support some great kids in our community here during the holidays. All the information about this is on the city's website. Tomorrow I'll be participating in an event at the East Alabama Food Bank, and I've got a press release that was put out by our public affairs staff today, and I feel like it's worth reading because the accomplishments and what's happened with this program is really outstanding. Tomorrow I'll join the Food Bank of East Alabama at the Walmart Distribution Center in Opelika to celebrate over 20 million pounds of food that have been donated by the Walmart Distribution Center in just over 20 years. That's enough food to fill 800 18-wheelers and provide 15.4 million meals to help fight food insecurity in East Alabama over the last 2 decades. This event will include a joint proclamation between myself and Mayor Gary Fuller as the Food Bank of East Alabama extends its sincere thanks to the Walmart Distribution Center for their generosity. Martha Hinks sent out the very first truck to the Walmart Distribution Center to pick up their first donation in June of 2000. I don't think she ever dreamed that we'd be celebrating 20 million pounds of food donated here 21 years later. The City of Auburn has a long partnership with the Food Bank of East Alabama going all the way back to Mayor Jan Dempsey, who still sits on the Food Bank board. In the 90s, the food bank was actually housed in Auburn's old post office, which today is City Hall. So thank you to the food bank for all they do to fight hunger here in Auburn and in East Alabama. Thank you to the Walmart Distribution Center in Opelika for giving so much to our great community. Also want to notice that over the weekend we opened a new park here in Auburn, the Dennis Park on Glen Avenue. I encourage everyone to go by and visit this very unique little jewel right here in the middle of our town, and we thank the Dennis family for their gift to our city. And Becky, thank your staff for getting it ready, and we look forward to having many wonderful opportunities and experiences out there in the future. And I want to say a special birthday to Councilman Tommy Dawson. Today, I won't tell everybody how old you are, Tommy, but happy birthday to you, man.
Thank you, sir.
All right, any other council members have an announcement they'd like to make? Tommy Dawson, I'll turn it over to you.
Yeah, well, Mayor, we had a Ward 8 meeting last night out at Kiesel Park at the Nunn Winston House, and we had a good turnout, a great meeting. Had a couple of developers out to look at some projects they're looking at in Auburn, one of them being a assisted living facility with a senior citizen neighborhood behind it, and it would be at the corner of Wire and Cox Roads. So kind of excited about that. It seems to be a pretty good project, so looking forward to seeing what comes of that. And just encourage, if you have any questions, let me know. If you weren't able to make the meeting last night, I'll be glad to answer them for you as best I can. But just want to say it was a great time out at Kiesel Park.
Thank you, Chief. Anyone else with comment?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have
Sure.
two
Yes, sir.
comments. It was reported to me that a young child fell into a pool in the the in-town suites on Commerce Drive. There was an 11-year-old young man, Zachary Bryant, who recognized that the child was in some kind of distress, and he jumped in to rescue that child. And I just want to commend publicly Zachary Bryant for his swift actions and his compassion and his knowledge and whatnot it took to help that young man or young person. The second one is that I have been advised that Councilman Dixon's lawsuit against the city regarding short-term rentals has now cost the city $32,109.16, and that's as of 30 September. That's all. Thank you.
Yes. Anyone else on the council have an announcement they'd like to make tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Sure. Yes, sir, Mr. Parsons.
I'll be holding a Ward 6 meeting on November the 3rd at the James Buston meeting room here on Ross Street. And City Manager McGowen Crouch will be the guest of honor for the night, and appreciate you spending some time with us and answering any questions that the constituents may have. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And if I may, the council, upon the retirement of the previous city manager, named it used to be in what we call the library, and it was a meeting room where the council used to hold a committee of the whole, and public safety used it for many training things while they're in that building, and we've revamped that space. It's a very nice space. We use it for education for our employees, but it was also intended for things like ward meetings. We have now ample parking here, and when we're doing study sessions and other things, it's a bigger space with a lot of windows and a lot of lights. So we're happy to host other ward meetings there if that's where you choose to host them. The library has been wonderful, and Tyler does a great job of that space, but sometimes it gets tight for some of your ward meetings. So just let us know, and we'll be happy to schedule it.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
I have a couple
Yes, ma'am.
comments. One, the roundabout at 147 is operating smoothly. I believe we've had limited incidents.
I think we had one minor fender bender,
Yeah.
which is a lot better than what we typically see at that intersection, which is often injury accidents.
So hopefully everybody is using that and able to traverse that area. And then sadly, our community lost a giant presence with the passing of Greg Bradshaw, the owner of Mellow Mushroom in Taquarita, this past weekend, I believe yesterday. And I know he will be greatly missed, and many of the downtown merchants and those in the downtown area will miss him greatly. And I believe his service is Thursday at 1 o'clock.
Beth, yes, Mr. Bradshaw was a bigger-than-life person down in downtown Auburn.
Absolutely.
Had great business down there, a couple of great businesses. Okay, anyone else from the council? Okay, Auburn University Communications.
Hi, how are y'all? Hope y'all are doing well and enjoying this slowly emerging fall weather. Alabama for you. All out-of-state people are really getting that taste of Alabama fall. So last week we had 11,275 name tags given out for Hay Day. This is a great number for us, and we're so excited to see everyone's smiling faces on campus this year without masks. It was great. Saw all the football players, basketball players. It was a great day for everyone. And then also, SGA is working on increasing awareness of our Lyft program. Students can get a free Lyft ride from Thursday to Saturday night if it's within like a $10 ride. So we're trying to, that's another way Auburn really promotes safety for students, making sure that they get home safe from the downtown area. And then tomorrow, Auburn is hosting a Let's Talk Money seminar with Eric Smith, a financial literacy coach. Because believe it or not, a lot of Auburn students and college students don't know how to use their money wisely, so I might be tuning into that event. My parents might be a little proud of me for doing that. We'll see. And then lastly, Mocha's with the Mayor is next Thursday, October 28th from 8:30 to 10:30. So we're super excited about that. I saw all the buttons and all the promos yesterday. And then Run on the Lawn. I'll never forget. We will definitely make that happen next semester. So
Thank you.
thank you all so much, and War Eagle.
War Eagle.
And I apologize to you, Abby. We had the podium is accessible, and it was obviously lowered for citizen for accessibility purposes, and we're about to correct that, so I apologize. There we go. Thanks, Steve.
That's great. Okay, now it's time for citizens' communications on items on tonight's agenda. Remember, this is just items on our agenda tonight. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record, and you'll have 5 minutes to address the council. Okay, seeing no one, we'll move ahead. City manager's communications.
Hey, Mayor, good evening. Our first item of business is the consent agenda. Does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
Ms. Crouch, there are some board announcements.
Oh, I passed on the board announcements, and I'm sorry we haven't had any. Well, really, the first thing is item 7A, which is the announcement of 2 vacancies on the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. And those appointments will be November 16th, 2021, and those applications will be live this week. And thank you, Mayor. It's been a while, and here we go. So now we're to the consent agenda. And does any council member wish to remove an item from the consent agenda and deal with that item individually?
8D1, 8
D1.
Delta 1.
Okay?
Anyone else? Okay, 8D1.
You want
Yeah, I just pulled this from the consent agenda because I'll be abstaining from the vote.
to, okay. Item 8D1 is a request to purchase a 2022 Ford F-150 two-wheel drive, a regular cab truck for the Inspection Services Department in the amount of $30,992.70.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Do I have a motion to approve the balance of the consent agenda?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the consent agenda is approved. Ordinances.
Under ordinances this evening, we have the second reading of item 9A, which amends Chapter 12, Article 8, Section 12-277, towing fees of the city code. The proposed changes would authorize a maximum fee of $150 for non-consensual towing from private property and a maximum fee of $75 for wheel locking.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. At this time, this is the second reading of an ordinance. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Mayor, I move to amend the ordinance as read to change the maximum fee from $150 to $125 and set the storage fee after 24 hours at $20 rather than $10.
Okay.
Second.
All right, so we do have Councilman Dawson has offered an amendment. It has been seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Witten. Any discussion on this?
Yeah, I have a question for
Sure.
the city manager. I recall somewhere you spoke about the specifics of this ordinance covering only city-related issues, correct?
It's the opposite. This is the non-consensual towing from private property. There is another provision in our towing ordinance that deals with if you were parked on the sidewalk illegally or we did tow you out of a city parking space for some reason, and those rates are not proposed to change. And I believe, and David Dorton will correct me if I'm wrong, they are $100 and the $10. And so they're not proposed to change.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
How did we come to the original amount, the 150?
Original amount was a function of, we had a request from one of the local towing companies via their attorney, and we had looked at those numbers benchmarked, you saw in your packet, against some other communities, and we actually looked at an inflationary factor. They had not been raised since 2008, and that is part of the reason for the request. So that's where the 150 came up with. That was not actually their request. It was closer to the 125, 130 range. So that's where we got that number, the benchmarking plus inflation at 3% a year is how we landed there.
Any other comments, or questions? Okay.
Just for clarification, that was not the price that we have before us prior to the amendment was not their request. Is that correct?
Prior to the amendment, it's been that way since 2008.
Okay.
Does that answer your question, my understanding?
I think what
No,
Bob's
I think I
asking
was-
is the 150, was that something the city came up with on the proposal, or was that?
David, that's correct. Was it 125 or 130? Yeah, I would have to pull the original. They did not request 150, I can tell you that. That was based on an inflationary thing, and again, back to our
Gotcha.
benchmarking.
Thank you.
And so lowering it to 125, I would still say is better than leaving it at 100 in terms of how they feel about it.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Megan, would this still be a roll call vote for the
Yes,
amendment?
I think with ordinances, we do roll call. Yeah, for the amendment first, right, and then on to the
All right, so this
amended motion.
vote will be on the amendment. Okay, just the amendment. Lindsay, roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Witten,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes. Okay, we'll move ahead to the entire ordinance at this time, or the
Ordinance as amended. Yep, you've already got a motion and a second, so it's just a vote on the ordinance unless there's further discussion.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, so we'll do a roll call vote on the ordinance as amended. All right, Lindsay?
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Witten,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
Item 9B authorizes severe weather preparedness sales tax holiday, which exempts specified items from the city sales tax on Friday, February 25th through Sunday, February 27th. There is a piece that you're not voting on where the state is already waiving something. Your consideration just has to do with a waiver of the city tax side of this, and unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce ordinance and ask unanimous consent.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Hearing none, is there any discussion or questions? Okay, Lindsay with a roll call?
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Witten,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Anders.
Yes.
Item 9C authorizes the installation of one stop sign in Bridgewater subdivision, Phase 2. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Hearing none, the roll call, Lindsay?
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Witten,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
Item 9D1 is a request from Joseph and Jerry Allen Ernest to annex approximately 64.20 acres of property located at the southwest corner of US Highway 280 and North College Street / Alabama 147. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this request by a vote of 6-2 at its September 9th, 2021 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward on the vote on this evening? All right, hearing none, is there any discussion or questions?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Sure.
I have a question for the city manager. There were two folks on the planning commission that voted nay. Can you elaborate on the rationale, please?
I think I'd like the planning director, Mr. Steve Foote, to respond to that, please.
At the time they took the vote, I don't believe either of the members provided a reason or rationale for their opposition. I think at some point there was concern about which items were going forward and which ones were not moving forward, but I don't recall them necessarily saying they were opposed to a particular part of the plan.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
And when we annex, just to clarify, it comes in at the base zone of rural, correct?
That is correct.
I have a question. Sure. For the city planner. This is the parcel that they deliberated on where there was a small section that was omitted from it, correct?
There is. We actually talked to the applicant about that because we felt like it would be better to bring the entire area of land in at the same time, especially within a PDD. And as I understand it, the property owner was not willing to sell that piece at this point in time. What we did in response to that was we were concerned about the number of access points to North College Street, vehicular access points. So we have in the PDD comments, and I think they're now showing notes on the plan that will provide cross-access easements from the PDD portion that abuts that site, so that we won't have to have necessarily another access driveway.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Lindsay with a roll call?
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Witten,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Anders.
Yes.
Item 9D2 is a request from the Ann B. Pearson Estate to annex approximately 44.37 acres of property located on the east side of Shelton Mill Road, just north of Cobblestone Subdivision. The Planning Commission recommended approval of this request by a vote of 8-1 at its October 14th, 2021 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
I have a motion seconds. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Hearing none, is there any discussion or questions? Okay.
Again,
Sure.
well, I just want to clarify that this evening, all we're being asked to do for this parcel of land is just to annex. Has the planning department received any additional action items on this property?
They have not. There was originally an application to annex and to zone to DDH. That request was withdrawn and not considered by the Planning Commission. It was withdrawn prior to the agenda being published. And so it's just annexation to the rural zone.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Yes, I have
Yes, sir.
the same question. There was one negative vote by the Planning Commission. Wonder if any specific rationale was provided for the negative vote.
And Mr. Foote, it was 8-1.
It was unanimous as far as was it?
It says it was 8-1 by the Planning Commission.
I was just looking at the summary. My apologies, it said unanimous. Do you remember what? Yeah, I don't remember once again. I think it was just when the vote came, there was one nay vote then, but I don't remember anybody giving any reasons. We can try to collect reasons when that happens if you'd like, and certainly put the names of the individuals who maybe voted.
Okay. Yeah, that'd be
To-
beneficial. Thank you very much.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Okay, Lindsay, roll call?
Parsons,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Witten,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Right. Item 9D3 is a request from James Lane Segrist to annex approximately .94 acres of property located at 2424 Lee Road 56, also known as Wimberley Road. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its October 14th, 2021 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
I have a motion and seconds. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Hearing none, any discussion?
I have, again,
Sure.
a question for the city manager. We talked about what ward this might come into.
Correct.
Is it likely come into Ward 2?
While the city attorney is double checking state statutes, you currently Ward 2 is, as you had pointed out, is on the west side of Wimberley or Lee Road 56, and logic says that it would come into that ward. But I am double checking to make sure there's not some statute. Ward 8 is on the other side of Wimberley and further south. But at the end of the day, there's been an east-west thing. I think if it was further south, it may be Ward 8, and that's one of the things that we're looking at.
Okay.
And I'll remind you that, that may be short-lived as we will be redistricting in the coming months.
Yes. Okay. All right, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
No, just, a comment that there's already a single-family residence on this property, but the base zone is rural, so it would be non-conforming, but it appears that there's no other action that will be taking place on this parcel of land.
Mr. Foote?
The buildings that are out there today it's not a residence, but it's more of a barn and other structures. The intent is the applicant would like to construct a residence on the property.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anyone else? Okay, Lindsay, roll call?
Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
Witten,
Yes.
Dawson,
Yes, ma'am.
Dixon,
Yes.
Griswold,
Yes, ma'am.
Parsons,
Yes.
Anders.
Yes.
Item 9E1 is a request from TJ Johnson on behalf of Joseph Ernest to rezone approximately 19.4 acres from rural to development district housing for property located at the southwest corner of the intersection of US Highway 280 and North College Street / Alabama 147 North. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its September 9th, 2021 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary and a public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with the vote on this evening? Okay. Any discussion from the council? Or did we go to the public hearing first? Okay, we'll go ahead and go to the public hearing. We'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Any discussion or comments from the dais?
I'd like to move that we postpone this item to the second meeting in November,
November 16th.
November 16th.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to postpone till November the 16th. Ms. Kraus, do we take that, is that a voice vote or a roll call?
You're fine on a voice vote for that.
Okay, all right, is there any discussion on the move to postpone to November the 16th?
Well, and I'll give you reasoning as to my request.
Please.
It's because right now, there's not a PDD associated with this and the next agenda item. And it's my understanding that planning has yet to move or make a recommendation on that PDD. And so this is a lot of property to put a zone to without knowing exactly what the plans are for that area.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Whitney. Any comments or questions?
Will that be enough time to have that plan together?
No, the Planning Commission did at their just Thursday night meeting on the 14th of October. They did act on this, but you won't see it until the second meeting in November. That's why they did recommend approval of a planned development district. These two got separated at the Planning Commission level based on some discussions about the planned development district, and so that's why you're seeing them. It takes 3 meetings between them due to legal advertising requirements. That's why you wouldn't see it till November 16th. At the request of the applicant, these items were moved forward on your agenda. Sometimes they're held to go all together, and sometimes they move forward. So,
All right, any other further questions or comments? All right, so we have a motion and a second to postpone to November the 16th. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and we'll take this up at our second meeting in November.
item 9E2 is a request from TJ Johnson on behalf of Joseph Ernest to rezone approximately 44.8 acres from rural to comprehensive development district for property located at the southwest corner of the intersection of US Highway 280 and North College Street / Alabama 147 North. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its September 9th, 2021 meeting. Unanimous consent is necessary and a public hearing is required.
I'll introduce the ordinance and ask for unanimous consent.
Second.
We have a motion and second. Does anyone on the council have a problem moving forward with a vote on this evening? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Any discussion from the council?
I'd like to move that we postpone this item to the November 16th, 2021 agenda.
Second.
All right. We have a motion and a second to postpone to the November 16th meeting. Is there any discussion or questions regarding that?
Same rationale.
Same rationale as before, just making sure that we see the plan development agreement plan before we vote on designating this area a certain zone.
Okay. Any other comments or questions from the council? All right, we'll do this with voice vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that'll carry forth to November the 16th.
Those are all the ordinances we have for you under resolutions this evening. Item 10A1 is a request from Brett Basquin on behalf of the Industrial Development Board of the City of Auburn for conditional use approval for the expansion of an industrial use manufacturing for SIO2. The property is located at 2425 Innovation Drive. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its October 14th, 2021 meeting. A public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the council, please come forward and give your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Seeing discussion or questions from the council. Very excited to see an expansion of one of our industries. Congratulations to them. Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10A2 is a request from Greg Lane on behalf of the Standard at Auburn LLC for conditional use approval of a commercial and entertainment use, which is a fitness studio known as Hot Works of Auburn. It is located at 234 North Gay Street, Suite B. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval of this request at its October 14th, 2021 meeting. A public hearing is required.
Move for approval.
Second.
All right, have a motion and a second. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. If you'd like to address the city council, please come forward. Give us your name and address for the record. Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing. Any comments or questions from the council?
Just excited that we have a potential business in the Standard to spur some other activity in that area.
Exactly.
I do have a question.
Sure.
It says that no parking is required. However, I'm just curious, are they going to be using the parking that Standard has constructed, their parking deck? Are they going to be using that parking deck for their customers?
Mr. Foote, was that discussed at all with Planning Commission?
I don't think it was. My understanding is within that area of the city, parking is not required for these types
Right.
of uses. And so parking for the facility was based, I believe, on the total number of units. Do you know if they're providing or opening the deck up for parking?
At the time it was constructed, and while we were going through a lot of development changes at the time, the council had quite a presentation from the developer about the use of parking, and the intention at the time, and we can check, I'll send you an email, we'll check, was that they had the ability to move some things on the ground floor to allow some fluctuation for retail parking. I don't know if they've accommodated that due to the lack of city requirement for commercial parking in the urban core, but we can certainly check. That was the notion at the time.
Yeah,
It's a lot different, though, than 320 Magnolia, where 320 Magnolia was built intentionally to have a easy way for ground floor customers where it was separated from residential. That's the only one that is quite like that right now, but we'll check and I'll send you an email.
Okay. Yeah, I fully realize no requirement, there is no requirement for commercial
There's
parking.
a fancy deck at Burton Street that is nice and available, as is the Wright Street parking deck.
Well,
We have
yeah.
ample parking in downtown Auburn. Please come
But I
and
just-
park.
Because we, like Councilwoman Witten said, we're happy to have something going into the ground floor of some of these buildings that have been languishing a while. I just think that'd be nice for future tenants or prospective tenants to know if they have parking available in the parking garage that's already on property.
Absolutely, and they have several other tenants in the works, and so I think things are picking up. No pun intended with Hot Works in the works. Sound
Okay,
like a
thank
few
you.
people. Yep.
Any other questions, comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Those are all the items of business we have for you this evening.
This time is Citizens Open Forum. If you'd like to address the city council about anything on your mind, please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and make sure your comments are addressed to the city council.
I'll make it quick. My name is Greg Lane. I'm actually the owner of Hot Works. I can answer your question. Yes, there's 84 parking spots that are going to be in the standards bottom one for commercial use. So hopefully that we're going to have a couple restaurants coming in and some other things too. So there's plenty of parking in there, and they just have to walk around to get to it.
Perfect.
Great.
So anyway,
great.
thank y'all.
Greg.
Appreciate you.
Thanks
you.
for your investment in our community. Anyone else?
Mayor Anders, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Herbert Walter Dumore Jr., 412 Opelika Road, apartment 111. I would like to, as a citizen of the community, would like to thank Mayor Anders, Councilman Griswold, for having a chance to go to the National Night Out. Yesterday was actually a day out, but it counts as a night out, so it's a night out. And also to the rest of the council, including Ms. Fitch-Taylor in her absence and Mr. Hovey in his absence, for supporting this effort. I'm sure the community is very concerned about the relations between law enforcement and the black community, but I'm sure all of the community. And it was nice to see the police being there. And I saw about 5 police cars there yesterday, so I hope that's a good sign, and I'm sure it brings up a lot of issues, a lot of concerns, like alleged police brutality and whether the police provide enough safety in poor neighborhoods. And we hope that yesterday will, hope raise the issues that we need to address. I don't speak as a person who's anti-police, even though I've had my run-ins with police here in Auburn. I do support the police officers, and they're not perfect. They're not robots. They're human beings just like everybody else. I'm just hoping, as a citizen, as an African American, that we can, better improve relations. I know there's some legislation in Washington addressing this, and you may have some concerns about that, both as council members and as private citizens. But at least let's hope that this would bring us closer to a resolution in regards to that. And I was there yesterday as part of Be Smart, Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, Everytown for Gun Safety. And we'd like to thank you all for the leadership in allowing the Housing Authority and the Auburn Police for letting us have space there, along with all the other organizations. And I hope the citizens will use those. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anyone else? Okay. Is there a move to adjourn?
So moved.
We adjourn.